if you would have thrown me into a building or into another church, I would have really functioned really well because I was used to having, the systems in place.
Yeah.
And, but church planting is a different animal, right? It's a different beast. You're having to go ahead and do a lot of recruitment. You're having to go ahead and do a lot of breakdown, setup. How do you lead? And in the midst of not having, office space and whatnot. And
so you're coming out, you're basically told, and we'll get to this and how this is some of the things we want to start to change. We want this to be a positive, conversation. I appreciate you being here for this, but you're saying you came out of this church, a Calvary Chapel church, great pastor, nothing bad to say.
Yeah.
And he just had nothing bad to say, all good things. But you're coming out of this, and it was really a lack of like support, mentorship,
there was
even help in some way or another. And then this meeting up with Daniel, this meeting up with Rodney, this was not some kind of an official program or anything. This was just relational.
It's relational. I mean, I have a little bit of an entrepreneurial background. So, I mean, when you talk about trying to go ahead and start a business or, I had started already a couple businesses before, I mean, you survey, you do your research before you go ahead and jump in. And that was sort of the take that I was walking with it, right? I say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and figure out sort of, as God is leading me, what's going on here, where God is already moving, and how can we connect to that and partner with that as we see where the stream of the Spirit is moving, right, in our city. But you're right in saying that there was no support, there was no mentorship, and no fault to my senior pastor either.
No,
right?
That's the thing. We didn't mean to do it. I've done the same
Yeah.
thing with guys out of my church.
Because I think that the MO that we've been used to in the past is, hey, this is the way we've always done it, right? That's the way Chuck did it, right? Hey, you want to go out? Here you go. Go to your city, start a Bible study, right? Go ahead and as God blesses, it will grow, right?
Yeah, and it did back then.
And it did, and it still does
people
today. It's not bad advice, but it's not the best advice. And I think that if you're a pastor listening to this podcast, if you're an emerging leader, I think you really want to consider the difficulty and the call that some church planners have. And it's something special, right? It's something that we want to cultivate, and we want to make sure that, hey, let's try to give them as much support as we can, so that way they can go ahead and be successful. That's why you do assessments. You go ahead and sit down with them. You walk with them. You do residencies for them where they can come in, where you can get to know them. They can get to know you, right? Where you can go ahead and assess, opportunities, right? Weaknesses.
That's what we talked about on the show with Rodney, was that assessment process. He's part of Acts 29 network. Yeah. They've got an assessment process. Cultivate, we've developed a pretty good assessment process.
Yeah.
And you're right, man. It's like we need to know what we're getting into. These young guys or even old guys who want to start churches, talking about that assessment process. But after that assessment is the relationship with a mentor. In our case, with Cultivate, we have a mentor, which would be a local like pastor or something that can help out. Yeah. And then we have a coach level. So someone who is a seasoned expert at church planting could come alongside the mentor and the potential planner and do that. But talk to us a little bit about, your church got started, Proclaim. You're proclaiming the gospel.
Proclaiming it, baby.
Amen.
Come on. That's right.
Man, I like
in
that.
Word and deed.
I'm going to come listen. I'm going to listen online. You got sermons online?
Yeah, you can check it out at Proclaim. On YouTube, we have a YouTube channel.
YouTube, everything.
Facebook,
Facebook, Twitter?
Instagram. No, I don't tweet.
TikTok?
I have a Twitter, but
TikTok?
No, I'm a consumer. I'm a consumer of TikTok.
We already talked about this at lunch.
That's right.
You're a consumer, not a content creator.
I'm not a content creator, right?
Yeah.
So what was the question?
I was getting to it, but you got excited about Proclaim. No, I did too, though. The question was, the importance of mentorship. Now I'm going to be the first to confess, a lot of guys would say this. We in Calvary Chapel have not done a good job about being intentional with church planting. Having said that, Calvary Chapel is one of the bigger church planting movements in the recent church history. That's crazy because it's a work of the Spirit. But with the work of the Spirit, as well as mentorship coming alongside of some of these other guys, we can really do a lot more. And we've mentioned this on previous shows that we're trying to plant 1,000 new churches over the next 10 years.
Go.
Let's do this.
Let's go.
So we gotta, we're gonna
Let's do
You're not
it.
excited, Daniel? Come on. We're sitting here
1,000.
saying, let's go.
Come on, let's go. Let's do
1,000
it.
only? That's it?
Huh?
That's what he's thinking.
Well, that's
Why
I'm
not
literally
why
thinking
not
that.
2,000?
We were talking about that. Like we, as a church or as a movement, there's 1,700 churches in the
Yep.
CGN network.
give or take.
So if even one church planted another church within the next 10 years, we could easily double that.
It's true.
Yes,
so,
true.
you know.
I'd like to come up with a challenge. May this will be the first time we hear about this challenge, is if we could challenge every church within the Calvary Global Network group of churches to, over the next 10 years, can you focus on, with the help of Cultivate and even some of these other networks, we're going to talk about it in a minute, to get a church planted would be amazing. Can we do it?
I think
Absolutely.
I think you can. I think you'd probably be more successful because a lot of churches don't have the resources, because it's heavy resource to go ahead and resource a church planter. But if you had churches that were of like mind and of like heart to partner together to go ahead and send someone out, right? That would be amazing.